somewhat familiar with on a day-to-day basis, covering them for ESPN, ESPN 1000, ESPN.com, ESPN Television, ESPN Radio. A lot of coverage by Courtney Cronin of one Chicago Bears organization. Made the decision to extend their GM, Ryan Poles. And just quick storytelling. When I saw the Adam Schefter alert on Friday on social media and I saw a picture of Ryan Poles, my initial thought was, wait, did they fire him? I cannot believe. Oh, no, they extended him.
You thought he was fired.
I thought, is there some sort of power struggle with Ben Johnson where he's the king of Chicago already and it's like he wants his own guy? But Courtney, you know this better than anyone. This obviously is Ben Johnson's guy. Why did they make the decision to extend Ryan Poles?
Well, they want to sync up their general manager and head coach on the same timeline. You avoid power struggles by doing it that way. And I reported this in January, that the expectation was this is going to happen this offseason. And the timing of it, I'm not surprised at all. Like a Friday news dump right before training camp starts, 2.5 weeks away. It's the right time to get this done. But there's a lot of people out there who are questioning, a general manager that's 15-36 over his first 3 seasons, why did they feel the need to do this? And it's because getting the timelines linked up to where you've got a head coach and a general manager trying to restart a lot of things in Chicago after a disastrous 5-12 season last year, you want to have them not feel like there's different agendas, so to speak. I mean, but Poles had 2 years left on his contract. They weren't in any super rush to get this done after they signed Ben Johnson because they knew that they had time. It wasn't like he was going into a lame duck year, but they added the 3 years, so now they both go through 2029. And, the belief that they have in Caleb Williams. Ben Johnson said he took the job in large part because of Caleb, and Ryan Poles' career is linked to Caleb. Shows this organization that, okay, if they're on the right trajectory and you've got the right 2 people making decisions, that can yield some pretty good results for this team. But overall record of 15-36 is obviously something that has to look a lot better a year from now, with more wins for, I think, this fan base to buy into Ryan Poles being the right decision maker.
So, Courtney, that was my initial reaction. When I first saw this news, I didn't think he was fired, but I was like, why now? With 2 years left on the deal, we still don't know what Caleb Williams is going to turn into. As you mentioned, Courtney, they're inextricably linked. If Caleb Williams is a bust, you'd think Ryan Poles' job could potentially be in jeopardy. Not that we anticipate Caleb Williams being a bust, but compared to his contemporaries around the league, there's still a lot more questions around him than some of these other guys. But then I thought about what happened last year with Matt Eberflus and how critical we were of the Chicago Bears for not getting Caleb Williams stability when it came to his head coach. And then I thought, you know what? Yeah, he's 15-36 overall, coming off a 5-12 season. Yeah, there's a lot of questions around if this quarterback is going to be the transformational piece that we all thought he was going to be, and if Ryan Poles made the right choice in bringing Caleb Williams in as opposed to C.J. Stroud or Jayden Daniels or Drake May, etc. But they're sitting in a situation where they did not give the organization and their quarterback stability last year, and they said, we're not going to make the same mistake again. We believe in Ben Johnson, and therefore we're going to make sure, as Courtney just outlined, that everyone is in lockstep, they're now in alignment with one another, and that this guy, and Caleb Williams, now has the organizational stability around him that a lot of young quarterbacks need in order to have success. So while initially a head-scratcher, the more I thought about it, I actually think that this is a very shrewd move by the Chicago Bears.
So, Courtney, off of that, I must ask you this, and I'm going to take a deep breath on this because I can't believe I'm actually asking this. Are the Chicago Bears now a stable, smart franchise?
If you're looking at the way that they're doing business, so the timelines of these 2 people, Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles, linking up, like that shows you that they want to make sure it works. They want to make sure that the plan is seen through. And I think it also acknowledges the fact that Poles went through a long rebuild, and they gave him a lot of credence, and they gave him a long runway, a longer runway than most would have had after 3 seasons and 15 wins. But yeah, I think that it's fair to say, Evan, because of the moves that they made, I think it's the course correcting this offseason, right? Like, went out and got the best head coach out there, paid him $13 million a year. That doesn't happen if we're going business as normal at Hallis Hall. That's not something that they've done in years past. They did it this year. They went out and flipped the interior of the offensive line in a week. right as free agency was starting. That normally doesn't happen. And they spent their first 2 draft picks on offense, on pass catchers. That normally doesn't happen. So you're seeing a change in how they're doing business up there. I think a lot of it has to do with who is making decisions behind the scenes, whether it's Ben Johnson, whether it's Ryan Poles. But Kevin Warren, in his role as CEO and president, it's not a normal role. The role that he fills in Chicago is not typical of team presidents across the NFL. And I think it's reflected in a lot of the moves that they've made so far this offseason with their personnel.
So I just want to be clear on what we're saying here. We are all now in agreement. The Bears seem stable and smart. The Jets seem stable and smart.
Small sample size.
Okay.
One off season.
The Detroit Lions are now a model organization.
Absolutely.
Shout out Javante Lawrence, our TV producer today. Are there any other, you got to be kidding me, example?
The Washington Commanders,
the Washington Commanders are as well run from top to bottom as any team in the league.
The Houston Texans, hello.
The Houston Texans are as well run as any team in the league. Right? I mean, this is we need the Dallas Cowboys to now not be quiet or not be loud and be quiet to really fit into this. But this is...
Which they kind of have been this offseason.
See, when the NFL talks about parity, I think it's a bunch of crap. I've told you guys that. We have the same champions basically every single year. But, excuse me, in this case, this is the parity, is that a team could be so dumb for so long and then flip it. Here's the thing about the Bears. Courtney, correct me if I'm wrong on this. Even if this doesn't work out, it's smart. As odd as it was smart, in my opinion, to take Caleb Williams number 1. Mm-hmm. It was smart to now correct a mistake, which a lot of people are not given the opportunity for in sports, of hey, you screwed up, we're going to fire you. No, we hired you for a reason. We have to allow you to screw up doing this for the first time. Ryan Poles screwed up in terms of the alignment with Eberflus. And now, obviously, they get the guy that Caleb wants and everybody wanted in Ben Johnson. Even if this doesn't work out, I still think we have to look at the Bears and say they are now smart.
Well, the whole syncing of timelines is something that they've never done before, because usually it's just using the head coach and quarterback example. Head coach gets hired. They have a quarterback that they inherit. They don't like the quarterback. They end up drafting one in the first round. That coach gets fired. Quarterback gets passed off to the next head coach. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. We've seen it a lot of different times in Chicago. They're trying to avoid that. They clearly weren't able to do one part, and it was the right move, obviously, to fire Matt Eberflus after the Detroit game last year. But they found the best offensive coach out there. They paired him with their number 1 overall pick at quarterback because they need it to work, because jobs are on the line, because the success of the franchise hangs in the balance on that pairing getting off on the right foot and working. So in order for that to happen, you've got to make sure that the person who's bringing in the players, the person who's bringing in the support for Caleb Williams is on the same page with the head coach. If you have any sort of, if it's not everybody on the same playing field, you're going to be in trouble. And that's a problem. That's what we've seen throughout the test of time in Chicago, that people's agendas, people's timelines just they're never running in the same direction at the right time. For once, everything's lined up. And yes, Caleb Williams had a rough rookie season. They know that. They had to course correct this offseason. And I've said, they've pushed their chips to the center of the table and said, Caleb, it's your move.